This play is about a couple who are in a long-term relationship, and in the first scene we see that after maybe, I think they've been together for about 6 or 7 years, after a really happy, adventurous sex life and a happy relationship, in this first scene of the play, for the very first time we see them approach sex that might be baby-making sex. And that's probably the simplest event that triggers the play, and it really rattles particularly Zara, the main character, and sends her into a spin, investigating all of the structures of her life, not just her chosen partner, but every aspect of her life is called into question. I guess the play was inspired by a personal crisis event, really. At its heart, it probably is a pretty personal play. But then you discover through the process, you discover in rehearsals, every time you look at the play, you find really strange parts of yourself that are in it and that you didn't know about. Everyone is supposed to go through a moment of reckoning when they're approaching the age of 30. And astrology has one explanation for that, calling it the Saturn Return. I'm no expert in astrology, but I just took that idea as a metaphor. And it's probably like a crisis of identity. More than that, you would hope that it's a crisis of values as well. It's meant to happen every 29.5 years, and the approach to this Saturn Return is meant to be the most difficult time. I first met David Bertholds here at the STC when I was about 17, I think, and I won the STC's Young Playwrights Award. And that was a fantastic moment for me. It really set me on a course. I remember walking into the rehearsal room and seeing that the props department had lined up all of the props that were needed for my play. And I remember just sort of seeing that and thinking, wow, someone's read my stage directions. And it was a moment of like being confronted with the responsibility of being a playwright, because you think, oh, they're actually going to take notice of what I've written down there. I better be careful. I better make sure that every word is necessary and useful. But more than that, like the lessons of that day were huge. You know, the discoveries that I made there were enormous and such a positive experience that I really chased I wanted to be a playwright from that moment on. And I really hung on to my relationship with David Bertholds, that director. We've collaborated, I don't know, 6 times since then, over a period of now 11 years. We know each other's strengths, but that doesn't mean we rely on them and become complacent. We know to challenge each other. And I think that's really true for Saturn's Return. I think this is uncharted territory for David Bertholds and me, and it's kind of been a bit of an adventure for us. I think every time you write a play, you're probably responding to your past work. And sometimes you're trying to enter territory that is new, but I think also you're trying to call on the lessons that you learnt in the previous plays. So particularly with Holding the Man, I think the lesson in that play was to embrace theatricality. And so that was a really fun lesson in writing plays that want to be plays and trying to tell stories in a way that theatre can tell stories, and to embrace this form. It wasn't difficult to write a central female character, but I think, and I've done it before, but not recently. Strangers in Between and Holding the Man both had male lead characters. And the surprising thing is, though, that I think Zara is most like me than any of my characters. And she's certainly the character that I admire the most. And I admire her courage, that she is made to question her life, and she enters that investigation so courageously, sometimes recklessly, and sometimes damaging the relationships that she has. But she really is courageous in investigating every aspect of her life. I kind of hope that this is the kind of play that people come to on a date. I think it's about love, and I didn't know that the whole time. But now, just seeing it in rehearsals now, I think, and particularly, it's about the fragility of love. And I hope that the play says something about love, like that love is precious, and that love might be easily kind of damaged. And yeah, so I hope it's a sensitive play that sort of points to the how delicate human relationships are.